Thank you, Jeetu, for the intro and helping us kick off this event. I'm Mohit Lad, co-founder and CEO at ThousandEyes, and I'm excited to be here and share some really interesting updates that are very relevant to today's reality. Now, a lot has changed over the last 18 months or so. One, ThousandEyes has become a part of Cisco, and we've seen some exponential growth, not just in terms of product and innovation, but also in terms of customer traction, the amount of work we're doing with the customers. But a lot has also changed in your worlds. Every employee is possibly going to be remote or has been remote, and that stretches what the branch infrastructure looks like, and it's stretching every single function that is supporting employees. And we're excited to be here and share some really relevant innovations that are going to help you deal with hybrid work much better. Some exciting demos there, some exciting product innovations and updates coming through. We also have our customers that are here to share their best practices and what works and what doesn't work. And this is my personal favorite part, because this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where you see technology in action and you see what's working from with the voice of the customer driving it. So some action-packed 90 minutes ahead of you. But before we go there, I want to just level set on what's changed and what is the basis of everything we're working on. So let's talk about that. Some of the biggest trends that you've seen over the last few years is cloud becoming the new data center. Now, this is an obvious one. Everything is starting to shift towards cloud. Even if it's not a full deployment, it's a hybrid deployment. Next, SaaS applications are becoming the new app stack. So think about Office 365, WebEx, and all the applications that you don't have to host anymore are really where the app stack is heading. And finally, the home is the new office. And think about this. You may have gone from 100 branch offices now to like tens of thousands of branch offices. But the underlying thread behind all of this is the fact that the internet is the new network. Now, this is a huge change in enterprise architectures. And before we go into the details, I just want to level set the basis of what ThousandEyes was created on. It came out of research coming out of UCLA, where we believed the internet was going to fundamentally change infrastructures and architectures. And we were really passionate about making the internet very easy to understand, because we believed it really defines what quality of life is. Every single thing you do is dependent on the internet working correctly, whether it's talking to your family members these days or getting work done. And that is really the premise and the mission behind which ThousandEyes was created, which is to improve the quality of the internet, to improve the quality of life. Now, with that, let's just talk about the reality and what you're expected to deal with. So these are numbers that came out of the Cisco Hybrid Work Index study, and some astonishing findings coming out of it. More than 60% agree that the ability to work from anywhere is critical to staying in a job. 95% of the outages that you encounter in your work or even in a home are related to things outside your control. Collaboration being the key application that everybody focuses on. And then finally, so much more focus on teleworkers versus office infrastructure and routers. Now, this is not an overnight shift. There's been a shift in the expectation on what digital experience is, starting with focus on e-commerce and SaaS, then moving on to the cloud side of the house and infrastructure as a service, followed by SD-WAN and the whole architecture change that's happening inside the enterprise. And finally, and I'm sure this is not the end of it, it's remote work. But the fabric that connects all of these digital experiences is the internet. And so just think about the way the internet has evolved and what the means with which it is being used to impact all of these experiences. And the ThousandEyes journey has been a 10-year-plus journey, which started with a shift on understanding the internet as it relates to online experiences, whether it's applications like Office 365s and Salesforces, or e-commerce sites or banking websites, the visibility into cloud environments, and the use of the public internet as a consumer. That's where ThousandEyes started. And every single quarter, every single year, we've delivered innovation after innovation to solve that problem. As we worked with customers, we found an increasing pull to take all of that innovation inside the enterprise. And I call this the borderless enterprise, because there isn't a concept of you own this or you don't own that. Every single part of that digital experience chain is a problem you have to solve. And so with the rise of SD-WAN, the ability to actually see through these hybrid environments where there isn't a border, like you have to see from your edge, office edge, all the way to a cloud or application experience along that journey, is critical. And so that's where ThousandEyes focused on a lot of innovation and delivering the insights that can really make these hybrid environments feel like one. And finally, as we saw through the last 18 months of the pandemic, remote workers, which used to be a small fraction of a typical enterprise, is become the majority. And that is the third chapter of ThousandEyes, where we're taking the innovations and the experience and now delivering all those insights to package up a solution that helps you understand what hybrid work looks like, where employees can be home or in a coffee shop or traveling anywhere, but it feels like they're in the office. You can understand the experience to SaaS applications that you don't actually own or control, just like they were in your data centers. And that sequence of innovations has enabled us to deliver insights to our customers no matter where the employees are and where the applications sit. We tie all of this together with this concept that the internet is a shared environment. If you compare to maybe your life 10 years ago, when you had an application outage, when you had an employee complaining, it was an issue very specific to you. It was your environment, your data center, your office, often very specific to you. Fast forward to today, you may be experiencing an issue because of a service provider issue on the last mile. It may be because an application such as Office 365 has an outage, or a cloud provider such as Amazon is going through some change. And so the ability to actually understand holistically what's going on is more important than ever before. And this is something unique to ThousandEyes, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But when we deliver a view of application experience, it is also the common insights that are shared across the entire data set that come to life. So as we all know, digital experience is really, really important. It's more important than ever before. But what has changed is the control that you have on the experience. Again, taking the same example, you would control the entire journey end-to-end with the employees sitting on their desks, applications in your data center. Not the case anymore, right? The employees are sitting at home, and the applications are sitting in cloud. So you're losing both endpoints, and they're going over the internet. So it's almost no control whatsoever on the routes they take or the paths they take. But you still have to deliver a great digital experience. And that's the challenge that we tackle with ThousandEyes. And that has three aspects to it. First, it's everything about apps and app experience. So this is where you focus on your customers, the experience you deliver to them from a digital point of view, no matter where they are, globally, nationally, locally. The next responsibility in that digital experience chain is your people, which is your employees working from anywhere. And more often than not, these two are interconnected. How your employees work and the productivity you generate can impact how the experience is for your customers. And it's the same common thread of the internet that is connecting all of this together. And finally, your infrastructure, which is under constant change. There's SD-WAN, there's cloud architectures, there's all sorts of topological changes that are happening in the infrastructure, as well as the fact that the home office is now part of your infrastructure. So where do you start? You start with what we call as a 30,000-foot view. This is the ThousandEyes Internet Outages Map. It's very easy to access. At the highest level, you can find this on thousandeyes.com/outages. So here's the first tip. Anytime you feel you have an experience issue, whether you're a ThousandEyes customer or not, you can go to thousandeyes.com/outages and instantly check if any of the key applications such as Office 365 or Salesforce are having an outage. You can also check if any of the major networks are having an outage. Now, this is the Google Maps view, right? It's a high-level view that gives you first instincts. From there, you can really start to zoom in. And while we have the Internet Outages Map as a community service up for everyone to look at, we have the product side of the equation that comes into play. But what has really accelerated over the last 18 months or so is the need to really extend visibility into the endpoints. And this is a huge growth area for Cisco, for ThousandEyes inside Cisco, where we're just seeing tremendous pull from the customer base. The visibility stack is being recreated because of the massive distribution of employees, this concept of every home office being a branch office. And just within the last 18 months or so, we've just seen an exponential rise in the request for endpoint visibility. We've accelerated this portfolio tremendously. And when you combine this with the intelligence that we have on a global standpoint from ThousandEyes, it is super compelling. Now, this is just a teaser. Trust me, there's a lot of really good content coming up ahead. So what's next? We're going to showcase some fantastic innovations that are going to change the way endpoint intelligence is looked at from an end user experience standpoint. We want to actually make it real and show you what a branch of one looks like, a branch of one in action. And this is really interesting as well. And then finally, I always believe personally that the best insights come from customers themselves. And so you will hear your peers, industry leaders, talking about the new reality and how to get the most out of it. So stay tuned. Lots of exciting content to come. Thanks again.